we have to put nature back at the center of everything we do, and put it at the center of our economy, which is, before this, nature's just been pushed to the peripheries. We've exploited and dug up and cut down everything as if there was no tomorrow, if it didn't matter.
Okay, so something big just went down at Buckingham Palace, because right in the middle of all the royal glitz and glam, King Charles raised a toast, not to the president, not to tradition, but to Catherine, the Princess of Wales. And you could feel it in the room. This wasn't just a compliment, this was big. A lot of people are saying it felt like a passing of the torch moment. And here's the part that really got people talking. After the toast, Charles said, "She replaces me from now on." And look, that line might have sounded casual, but the way it echoed through the palace, it landed like a bombshell. Because this wasn't just Catherine being charming or looking good in a gown. She gave a speech that actually impressed world leaders. Macron himself looked genuinely taken by her presence, and behind closed doors, diplomatic aides started whispering that Catherine had just shown the kind of poise and presence that makes her a real contender on the global stage. So if you're thinking this was just another fancy dinner party, nope, this was different, and it might just be the moment that shifts how the royal family works going forward. Let's break it down, because none of this was random.
The point about it is, how do we create a better system? There's all sorts of things that people have been trying to say for a long time that we could do much better. And these are the things that we have to concentrate on now, it seems to me, in order to work our way out of this, but in a far better and more sustainable way that actually puts a green recovery at the center of all this.
All right, let's get into what really went down that night, because this wasn't just a regular royal dinner party. It was the kind of night people are still whispering about in palace halls. So picture this. The ballroom at Buckingham Palace is all lit up. Everyone's dressed to the nines, gowns, tuxedos, medals, the whole royal look. President Emmanuel Macron and his team are in town, and this is a state banquet to honor that visit. On the surface, it's about diplomacy and tradition, but something more important is playing out. Right in the middle of it all is Catherine, the Princess of Wales. And yeah, she looked stunning. That sapphire gown wasn't just for show. It mirrored the famous sapphire in her engagement ring. Very intentional, very royal. But it wasn't her dress people ended up talking about. It was her presence. Now here's the part most people didn't see coming. Catherine gave a toast. A full, thoughtful, heartfelt toast. Not just a smile or a few polite words. This was a real moment, and people in the room were visibly affected. You could see it. Some were even teary-eyed, according to one observer. And these aren't folks who get emotional easily. We're talking about diplomats, leaders, and royals who've sat through dozens of these things. Macron was impressed. Like, not just nodding politely, he was fully focused on her, listening closely, even smiling at parts. He later described her as someone who could build bridges between nations. And for a French president to say that about a British royal, especially post-Brexit, that's saying something. Then comes the moment that really turned heads. King Charles stands up, raises his glass, and says, "To the Princess of Wales." That alone would have been a standout moment, but what happened after is where it gets interesting. Apparently, Charles turned to someone nearby, and we don't know exactly who, but he said, "She replaces me now." It might have sounded like a casual joke at first, but people close to the royals say it didn't feel like a joke at all. And you know what? Charles isn't the kind of guy who just tosses out lines like that at formal state events, especially not ones where cameras and microphones are all over the place. This was a signal that Catherine isn't just standing next to power anymore, she's being given power. Some aides said they weren't even surprised. One source put it like this: he's been prepping her for something big for a while now. So this wasn't random, this was part of a plan. Catherine isn't just filling in for royal duties anymore, she's stepping into something way more important.
And William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family. It has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay. For everyone facing this disease, in whatever form, please do not lose faith or hope. You are not alone.
Now, let's talk about why this actually matters, because some people still think Catherine's role is all about looking elegant and smiling for photos, but that's not what's happening here. Catherine is showing serious soft power, and that's a big deal in the world of global politics. She's not out here making loud speeches or pushing policies, but she doesn't need to. That's the whole point of soft power. It's about influence, about making people feel comfortable, seen, and respected. And Catherine's really, really good at that. Multiple diplomats who were at the banquet said her presence made a real impact. Macron calling her a bridge between nations wasn't just flattery, that was him recognizing that she's got the kind of energy that makes diplomacy work. And when leaders feel that connection, deals get easier, conversations open up. There's already talk behind palace walls that Catherine might be asked to represent the UK at future international summits, even something like the G7. And honestly, it wouldn't be surprising, because unlike many public figures, when Catherine speaks, people don't feel like they're being talked at. They feel like they're being spoken with. She makes things feel human, and that's rare, especially in places where everything is scripted and formal. It's why her speeches, even the short ones, get shared online so fast. They feel real. You don't need to be a royal fan to feel that authenticity. It comes through whether she's at a village hall or a state banquet. So yeah, this wasn't just about her wearing a nice dress and giving a polite toast. This was Catherine showing what she can do when the pressure is on, and proving she can hold her own next to world leaders.
So it's been quite some time, and it really is the most wonderful regal display when you see them all, walk out and they've got the white tie and the tiaras on, and she does add, she's a woman who does some amazing work. I love when we shine a light on that, but it just must be said, she really adds glamour. She really does. She turns up to these events and she looks spectacular.
All right, let's be honest. The monarchy's been through a rough few years. A lot of people, especially younger generations, have been asking, do we even need a royal family anymore? That's not an easy storm to weather. But then you've got Catherine, and people trust her. Because it's not forced. It's not PR spin. It's because she shows up, she speaks from the heart, and she actually backs it up with action. People feel like they know who she is, like she's real. And for a royal, that kind of authenticity is rare. She's not controversial, she's not messy, she doesn't make headlines for the wrong reasons, and yet she's still completely captivating. That's a tricky balance to pull off, and Catherine does it almost effortlessly. Let's talk about what she's actually doing, because it's not just about smiling at events and delivering nice speeches. Behind the scenes, Catherine is planting real seeds for the future. This woman is strategic, even if she doesn't make it obvious. She's really passionate about early childhood development, and that's not just a talking point. It's something she's been working on for years. Now think about how that could turn into something much bigger. Insiders say there's already talk about possible education programs involving both the UK and France. Yep, cross-country collabs, where Catherine takes the lead, using her experience and passion